Welcome to Exit Algorithms, the podcast where we decode what it really takes to scale, exit, and preserve the legacy of your business. I'm your host, Pete Vera, and today I'm joined by the legend, Jason Bohrer. Jason is an award-winning dealmaker, Fortune 500 strategist, and off-market M&A authority, known for his mastery framework, a 6-pillar exit formula that helps 8 to 9 figure business owners double their business value and maximize legacy while optimizing for tax efficient exits. With deep experience as a buyer, seller, strategist, and founder, Jason uniquely transforms complex exit processes into clear, actionable strategies. His flagship program, Master $100 million in 12 months, empowers founders to accelerate growth and engineer tax-advantaged exits, playing their exit more like a strategic master rather than just a transaction. Jason, great to have you on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm really glad to be here. And thank you for such a sparkling introduction. It's so refreshing to hear something other than Jason's here, everybody's favorite Ryan Reynolds Deadpool lookalike. So it's a nice change of pace for me. I appreciate that. And I'm thrilled to be here talking with you.
Absolutely. I'm sure those jokes never get old.
You know what? My ego makes sure that they're pretty appreciated each and every time they come up. You know, there are worse things to be called, I suppose.
Absolutely. Yeah, could be worse. Yeah, I'd love to start us off, Jason, if you don't mind sharing just a bit about your background and how what led you to what you do now in strategic business exits and off-market M&A.
Yeah, absolutely. We were actually just catching up a bit about this before the show. I was telling you, like most folks, my journey into M&A began with a near-death experience. It was a severe seizure caused by a brain bleed that forced me to rebuild from zero. In that recovery, I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk, I couldn't eat. So I learned very literally what it means to take the first step again, not towards business this time, but toward agency. I needed to prove to myself that I was still there. And that experience became the foundation for everything that I teach and build today. Because in business, what I've found through everyone I've spoken to, much as in life, the hardest move is usually the smallest move. It's the very next step. And that's the one that gets you back in motion. When I was recovering, learning to walk, talk, and eat again, I was initially told, 12 months is an average recovery. You may or may not be the person you were before this all happened. And that was hard to hear. So I was recovering with my grandmother, who was kind enough. I needed 24/7 care. She was kind enough to take me in at her place in the cliffs above the beach in Newport. Beautiful scene, right? All the sun in the world. But I chose to lock myself in a dark room because I was in a dark place. I mean, 12 months, I may never be the person I was again. And finally, one day she came in. I was so frustrated. I was following everything the doctors told me to do, and they were like, take it slow. If you move too fast, the damage could be irreversible. It was driving me crazy. I felt trapped. And she came in one day and said, Jason, I know you. If you truly tried everything, you would be walking by now. What I need you to do is stop lying to yourself so you can start leading yourself. And that cracked me open. I had been lying to myself about the fact that I was doing everything. I was following doctor's orders. It's not working. And as soon as I owned up to that, I was able to shrink the move, start small, focus very literally not on walking and talking and eating. Oh gosh, that was essentially being a newborn again. It was literally the next step, one foot in front of the other before I could even think about walking. And once I really embraced that mindset, I was able to shrink that timeline from 12 months down to 90 days for recovery. And an important piece of that was the decision that I wanted to pursue my MBA in that time. I was very frightened by the idea that I would never have the cognitive faculties that I once had. And the more I thought about it, an MBA became important to me because I simply, everybody has their own reasons for going to get their MBA. I really needed to prove to myself that I was still there. And in the process of, stepping onto campus and earning my MBA at Pepperdine, I had a wonderful professor, Samuel, just a shining pillar of that, what that whole program there stands for, practitioners above professors. I was introduced to the world of M&A, and it lit me up. I found true purpose in a language that spoke to me. So with this whole mindset shift, M&A really became my language for that. At first, it was more exclusively about buying companies, right? The business acquisitions component of it. But that led to a lot of very black and white conversations. Yes, I can buy the business. No, it's not a fit for me. And the more folks I spoke to, the more I realized this is really a shame. These are great people, and there's got to be a better way to serve them that I just wasn't able to serve under that binary model. So I widened the aperture and I began helping founders to design exits, not just transact them. And that became the seed of the consultancy that I built today. It became the seed and foundation for the book I just released, shameless self-promotion, Mastery, the Six Pillar Exit System. And now my work today sits at the intersection of strategy, structure, and self. So I'm able to help owners, founders, entrepreneurs architect the next step with clarity and not with chaos. And at its core, it's about engineering freedom to align business owners, rather business outcomes with personal evolution. It's the art of being over doing.
Yeah. Wow. No, I love it. Such an amazing story as well. It comes off in your unique approach, I think, too, holistic. And I would love to kind of expound upon that, if you don't mind, a little on the mastery framework and the six pillars, and yeah, how that relates to business owners.
Yeah, absolutely. So the mastery framework is built around six universal stages of transformation, what I call the pillars of performance and exit mastery. And they are move, act, structure, time, exit, and repeat. Each pillar represents a shift from trapped to sovereign, from hesitation to motion, from activity to alignment, from ownership to sovereignty. And when they're applied together, they're able to compress decades into years. Because in an exit context, they create clarity around what you need to focus on, when, and why. It's not just about selling a company. If it was, the conversations I would have would have been different, right? But the more and more folks I spoke to, the more and more I came to realize that a lot of folks weren't ready for the kind of experience that I was about to bring them. We had some folks not long ago. They were all excited. We were talking to them. They were ready to go. We went out. We found them a buyer within 3 days, and came back and we said, "Guys, great news! We found someone who's really interested in having a conversation with you." And they said, "Great!" And they lit up. And then all the color promptly drained from their skin because they had no idea what they were going to do the next day, let alone who they were going to be. So it's really not just about selling a company, it's about engineering a transferable machine that continues to be perform beyond the founder. And that's what this framework is able to do for you. It's the real goal, to design a business that can outlive its owner, sure, but more importantly, a life that can outlast the business.
Yeah. Wow. No, it makes sense. Are you talking about the afterlife from the seller's perspective as
Yeah,
well? Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Who are you in the context of the next chapter? It's an important but overlooked step for many of the folks I speak to. It turns out, from what I'm told, there actually is only so much golf you can play, only so much fishing you can do, even dare I say it, so much time you can spend with your grandkids, especially for a lot of these folks, who have been here for 10, 20, 40 years. You lose yourself in that process. And this framework allows you to return to self. So you understand the blank page. And that's what we talk about a lot in pillar 5 and 6 with the identity gap and the blank page.
Yeah, absolutely. Having kind of a purpose,
Yeah.
that sounds after spending
Yeah.
your whole life building this business and
Yeah.
and having a goal and a direction every day, and then suddenly that's taken away. I can
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. It happens often. People are, more often than not, quite simply more comfortable with the hell they know, the truck that's broken, the account they got to close, the customer they have to manage, than the unknown. It's really scary for some folks, and it's totally understandable. And this framework is designed to help you understand and architect not only the exit, but what happens after the exit, what happens next, where you're going, the afterlife, as you put it.
Yeah, awesome. So for founders kind of with the eventual exit in mind, are there what would you say the most critical financial or operational metrics you focus on?
Yep, yep. That's a great question. A lot, it's education. A lot of what I do is really education. And there are a handful of critical measures that determine how ready a company is for scale or for sale. But at a high level, what it comes down to is three things. You'll learn very quickly. I love my stuff in sets of threes. It comes down to profitability, predictability, and transferability. Founders should know their recurring revenue ratio, gross margins, customer concentrations, and cash conversion cycles. Not really
Mm,
as accounting trivia, but as indicators of how resilient their model truly is. And beyond numbers, operational metrics like dependency on the owner, team structure, your leadership bench, process maturity are what separate the valuable buyer ready uh, businesses from the ones that are ready to go, that are ready to be picked up.
got it. Yeah, huge. That makes sense. So you couple some very, I don't know, nitty-gritty business metrics with also mindset and prepping for what are you going to do after.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I read also, one of the big things is preparing a business for tax advantages as they exit. Do you
Yeah.
mind diving into that a little more?
Yeah. Taxes are often the single largest expense in an exit and the least understood. Most founders are surprised to learn how dramatically their structure is going to determine their outcome. And there are countless of tax regimes, exemptions, and charitable or rollover vehicles available to business owners, but few of them are aware of that early enough to make them count. So the real insight is this: taxes aren't just a cost, they are a design variable. And with proper planning, founders can transform what would have been leakage into long-term legacy. Uh, the what here is awareness, and the how is always specialized and situation specific.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. It depends. You hear that all the time.
Yeah, yeah, good reason. That it's as odd as it sounds, it's such a frustrating answer to get, right? Like I get frustrated when someone tells me it depends. It's like just give me a yes or a no or a straight answer. But that's actually the answer you want. That means you're talking to someone who is giving you an honest answer because they're invested in providing you knowledge that is applicable to you instead of just handing you something that they think is going to be a good fit, selling you something you may not need that may or may not help you. I talk about a lot of the different strategies on social frequently. But again, this is just the what. I wouldn't want to venture into the how without knowing you, without speaking to you, without making sure this is something that's going to help you. So I mean that's it's my own work too, right? I've learned to reapproach when someone gives me an answer that comes from the place of, well, it depends. I learned to approach it with a newfound appreciation for the fact that they simply, it's not that they don't know. They want to give me an answer that is meaningful. They don't want to just feed me something. So it's been helpful for the mindset aspect as well as the mathematics aspect of my life.
Sure. Yeah. It can be a cop out, but I think in most cases you're right. And with such a complex topic, would you say are there common pitfalls that could be applicable to most businesses that they mess up in that exit process tax wise?
I think more often than not, it is a failure to give yourself the time to make this happen. If you're considering an exit in 3 to 5 years, let alone 12 to 18 months, you really want to get started now. The best time to plant a tree 20 years ago, second best time today. And I think that's the most common pitfall is folks wait to start having this conversation until it is too late to do anything about it. So I would urge you, if an exit is on your horizon, in your minds, in your timeline, start having these conversations right now. Start doing a bit of research about what vehicle is going to be best for you. Familiarize yourself with the language. One of the reasons I wrote a book is primarily to give folks a common language to use. I mean, that's my favorite thing about reading books is it takes thoughts I was already having and gives me a common language to wrap those conversations around. So start having the conversation. Don't be afraid to be uneducated at this point. I pride myself on going into most conversations with the mindset that I'm uneducated. I like to make sure everything is a learning moment for me. It's how I grow. So I think time. If you're eyeing an exit, start having this conversation. You need the proper one runway to make these things meaningful for you.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah, and on that topic of just education, say, okay, I'm a small business owner and I want to get out of my business and I don't have someone to pass it on to a family member or anyone within the company. I don't know anything. I feel like a gut reaction is like, oh, well, I'm gonna go to a business broker
Mhm.
or something, or if you're big enough, investment bank or whatever. What's your opinion on that? Is there a benefits to that, or would you recommend, I think I've seen some of your content, you like the off-market approach, right? I would love you to hear your opinion on that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a personal choice, right? But more often than not, what I see is that traditional exits often resemble auctions. Public, reactive, rushed, and exposed. An off-market exit, by contrast, is private, it's curated, it's intentional, and it's strategic. It's about positioning, not pitching. So quietly pairing the right buyer with the right story before anyone becomes aware that this opportunity is available. And this approach is what I've built my off-market machine on. It creates leverage, not just in price, but in control, confidentiality, and alignment. It's less about chasing offers and more about engineering demand.
That's a good one-liner. I like that.
Yeah.
Engineering demand. Yeah, do you find technology and a lot of the business owners you talk to being an issue or being a factor when it comes to exit?
Yeah, I do. I think change is scary, right? And there is no one thing that represents the frightening degree of change we have to face any given day than the rate at which technology accelerates. And I think the sort of knee-jerk reaction to have an aversion to it, to have a fear to it is understandable, but misplaced. There's a book I love called The Celestine Prophecy. And one of the through lines of that book is that technology has and will always exist to augment inherently human capabilities. And I mean, this goes back as far as fire as a piece of technology. It's an extension of the sun and it allows you to be more human at night, right? But that's all technology has ever really done for us. If you look back at, the things it's enabled us to do is it takes care of a lot of the simple repetitive tasks so that we can be more human. And especially these days, we see AI reshaping how we build and buy companies. We're moving from static organizations to dynamic, data-driven ecosystems. And automation, what it does at its core it allows founders to multiply output without multiplying overhead. And AI really can enhance precision in decision making, valuation, and due diligence, the whole process. The real advantage here isn't replacing people, it's in amplifying performance. Again, augmenting your own inherently human gifts and capabilities. And the founders who are able to approach that with an open mind, embrace it and understand it, and along with that, how to integrate human creativity with intelligent systems are going to define the next generation of scalable, sellable companies.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. It's augmenting performance, not just replacing people.
Yeah.
Do you see that dynamic changing or evolving in the next, say, 5 to 10 years?
The idea that of the more fear-based approach or replacing versus amplification.
Replacing, I think specifically with with the advancements in robotics, say, or I guess it probably is industry specific, but
Can be, but if you take a look at the through line remains consistent, right? It's easy to become afraid because that rapid acceleration brought by the technology we have these days is a lot more than just inventing the wheel or the stirrup. It's a lot more aggressive, it's a lot more fast paced. That creates fear. People start to feel like left behind. But I don't see it replacing more so than augmenting. That through line of augmenting inherently human capability is going to continue to be consistent and prevalent and more amplified as we see this technology develop. The natural instinctual aversion is totally understandable, but the more familiar you become with it and what it will do for you, the more you understand that it's actually there to enable you to be more human, more capable, more expanded in who you are and your unique gifts. So that's where I see that trajectory going. And I understand, the cyclical nature of aversion and excitement and everything that comes with stuff that
mm,
God just developed, but I don't fundamentally see it focused on replacing people. It is here to augment what is inherently you.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'd agree. It sounds like the business owners that are just embracing this new technology, it's almost like you have to keep up these days. Would you agree with that?
I'd say yes, but it's a mindset shift in and of itself. It's about becoming interested in what it will enable for you, what it can unlock for you. And a lot of times that's a very fine line between business and personal, right? What can you do if you're able to unlock a more of who you are? And I, would say to the people who are feeling change aversion and fear about it, revisit times in your life that have been similar to this, when change was thrust upon you, and examine in retrospect what that was able to unlock within you. It's part of our human journey. I've found most people I speak to consistently amaze themselves when they are given new and uncomfortable situations that require them to grow. So I think it's it's something that I would really encourage you to shift your mindset on and start asking what it can do for you, for your life, for things you're excited about. Life in my experience has been a lot simpler than I had oftentimes try to make it. It's really just what's the thing that excites me at any given moment, and what can I do to lean into that feeling to the fullest extent that I can. And for me, a big through line there is, awareness of who I am. And the more I can lean into wherever you go, there you are. And all you're ever going to really find is more you, because reality, it's all in your head. So if you can take the time to understand who you are, what you're excited about, and then look at new technology and change as the aperture through which to really understand that, then you're in a really powerful place to not only have this new level of awareness and what really is authentic to you, but also how to act on it. And it becomes this beautiful multiplier for you. So that's sort of the lens that I would encourage folks to look at technology through, because this is really a pretty outstanding gift for folks who are looking to be more of who they are to begin with. Approach it with excitement. It's all too easy to get caught up in a lot of the fear mindset. Approach it with excitement and see what's there for you, see what it unlocks.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. It's a positive lens on the situation, and there's so much doomsday talk.
It's a
Um,
choice.
it's a
Most of our
choice.
stuff is self-inflicted anyway. So at least that's been the truth of my reality. More often than not, the stress I feel is entirely self-inflicted, and that means it's a choice. The through line that is evolved in my life lately is the problem is me. It always has been. And the sooner I can move forward with 100% accountability for everything in my life, the better off I am. Because if the problem is me, that means I'm also the solution. And if the problem is me, that means I can work on it. Everything outside of me, I have no control over. Me? I'd like to think these days I've got at least like 80% control over myself. So it's an encouraging message that I've landed on in realizing the problem is me. So I'd urge you to take a look at your lives and see what you find. Let me know. I'm
Yeah.
curious.
For our listeners out there, it might be you too. Yeah. And I love that it's your emphasis on mindset and practices, breath work. How do these influence or impact the, managing the stresses that a business owner might go through in that exit process?
Yeah, it's actually been my favorite part of the whole becoming I've been on. I talk a lot about this in my 12-month story. But essentially, it comes down to this. Leadership through transition, especially, is stressful because it exposes identity. When your company is an extension of you, selling it can feel like you're losing a piece of yourself. That's where practices like breath work or mindfulness really enter the equation in a big way. They're not about calm for calm's sake. They're about creating enough space to make decisions from a place of clarity instead of chaos. And a regulated leader, Warren Buffett is a great example of this, makes better strategic choices. And that's really the heart of resilience and the performance engine I've developed. It's an integration of physiological mastery with performance architecture.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're 100% right. He's like the, archetype, I feel like, of that.
Yeah, yeah, really great example and a really good illustration of what understanding your own human design can do for you. He's notorious for not making decisions from a place where he's emotionally charged. He waits to respond, and it looks like it's working out pretty well for him. So,
I'd say so. Yeah, Charlie Munger too.
yeah, that's a great
All of
one.
this frameworks that he's developed.
Yeah, yeah,
It's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, and we're coming up on time here. What would you say the one thing, if you had to pick one thing, you'd recommend business owners focus on when prepping for an exit, starting today?
Yeah, yeah, that's a great question. Exiting well isn't about walking away. It's about walking into what's next. Purposeful exits happen when founders see the sale not as an ending, but as a continuation of their impact. And the six pillar exit system was designed exactly for that, to bridge the gap between achievement and alignment. I was talking about my grandfather earlier.
Mm.
My grandfather, Chuck Jones, fearsome warrior, animator. He created Looney Tunes, Bugs Bunny, Roadrunner, those folks, that cast of characters. And his weapon as the fearsome warrior, he was the pencil, specifically an Eberhard Faber Blackwing 602. It's the only pencil he would use. His lifelong nemesis, his Elmer Fudd to his Bugs Bunny, was the blank page. And I'll never forget sitting down to dinner with him the night that he received his Lifetime Achievement Award from the Academy of Motion Pictures. We went to his favorite spot, Five Crowns, down in Newport Beach. And right there in the center of the table sat Oscar. gleaming gold, a lifetime of brilliance summed up in this single punctuation mark that was a statue. He was smiling, he was joking with the staff, passing the statue all around the room like an old friend at a party. But when it finally landed back in front of him, something shifted. The spark left his eyes. And I asked, Grandpa, what's wrong? And he said, it's the statue. And I'm like, oh my God, did someone scratch the statue? He laughed and the spark came back a little bit. And he looked over at the statue and said, no, it's not that. It's what it represents. And he paused and he told me, you finish a story, a film, a career, and you realize you're facing that blank piece of paper again. There is always the blank page. It is the enemy of all achievement. And when you're faced with an achievement like this, he said, pointing to a statue, lifetime achievement etched into its armor, that enemy has quite simply never stood taller. And that conversation never left me because it captures the emotional reality of what founders face after an exit. You've built something extraordinary. It is your life's work. I talk to people who have been in this for 40 years, and now you're staring at that white space, the blank page, the question of what comes next. My grandfather, very rightly, called it terrifying and thrilling all at the same time. Because in that blank space, everything is possible again. And that's the heart of mastery. And that's the message, the one single message I always leave with founders. True freedom begins where your identity ends. And that's where the next chapter and real mastery begin.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Thank you. That was great. I think the audience will definitely take something out of that. Oh man, it's been a great conversation today, Jason.
Thank you for having me. This has been so much fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. But just if you want to share with listeners any last insight or also where's the best place to find you?
Yeah, all over social, Jason Alan Bohrer. You can go to my website, get an idea of the kind of resources I provide. You can get a copy of the new book, Mastery, the 6-pillar exit system that talks about what I teach and the services I provide in depth. But more so, I'm hoping it offers you insight into what's ahead of you so that you can simply take that next step. So yeah, feel free to go to jasonalanbohrer.com. And I've got a load of resources and fun stuff there for you. But really lean into taking that next step. If an exit's on your mind, really get yourself the tools that you need and take the next step into what's waiting for you. Get excited. It's really cool. There's fun stuff here in all of this. So yeah, that's what I hope you feel as you step into it.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. I'll be sure to leave the link in the show notes description, so it'll be easy.
Awesome. Awesome.
Great. Awesome. Thank you for coming on the show today, Jason. It's been great.
Thank you so much for having me.